associated with the sun was considered spiritually pure and used in objects meant to draw divine favor. The process of preparing magical ointments, inks, or elixirs involved both physical and spiritual precision. Reciting incantations during a mixing, maintaining ritual purity, and observing sacred silence or fasting before use. The cult pharmacopoeia also extended into alchemical practices. Here, substances were transformed not only for physical benefit, but as allegories for spiritual processes. Metals were purified or fused in ways believed to mirror the elevation of the soul. The refinement of matter became a ritual act of divination and inner refinement. Astonis and others in his tradition would have understood these materials not as inert matter, but as living forms with divine potential, waiting to be awakened. In the broader Greco-Roman, Persian, and Egyptian magical world, the pharmacopoeia was a hidden science, guarded by initiates, often encoded in riddles or symbols, passed down in secret texts or oral teachings. Its use was considered both powerful and dangerous. Misuse or improper ritual could bring spiritual contamination or divine punishment. Thus, those who practiced with the pharmacopoeia were expected to undergo moral, physical, and intellectual training to handle these forces responsibly. Astonis's ideas concerning a divine spark or logos reflect a deep-rooted belief in the presence of a hidden divine essence within all things. A spiritual core that connected the material world to higher, unseen realities. Although his writings do not survive in full, and much of what is attributed to him comes from later Greco-Roman sources and the Hermetic and alchemical traditions, he is frequently associated with early concepts of the logos, not merely as speech or reason, but as the divine ordering principle that permeates the cosmos. In Astonis's framework, the divine spark was seen as the animated essence within matter. This spark was the reason why transformation, whether physical or spiritual, was possible. Metals could be purified because they retained a latent divine perfection, and the human soul could ascend because it carried within it a fragment of the divine source. This idea harmonizes with later Gnostic and Neoplatonic thinking, where the soul was considered a fallen or veiled portion of a higher, pure reality trapped within a corrupt world, but capable of returning to its origin through knowledge and ritual purification. The logos in Astonis's likely interpretation was not only the means by which the cosmos was structured, but also the force that allowed communication between the realms. The divine logos was reflected in nature through correspondence and sympathies, patterns in herbs, stars, metals, and bodily humors. Understanding the Logos meant learning the language of nature. Thus, the magician or alchemist could work in harmony with the divine will rather than against it. For Ostanis, to awaken the divine spark within oneself involved rigorous discipline, physical purification, mental concentration, and often the use of sacred rituals and materials from the occult pharmacopoeia. This process was not unlike refining gold from base ore. Just as matter required multiple stages of calcination, dissolution, and distillation, so too did the soul require testing, cleansing, and enlightenment before it could rise. The presence of the divine spark in all things also meant that the boundary between sacred and profane was not fixed, but could be crossed through proper ritual and understanding. Every transformation in alchemy, turning lead into gold, separating the subtle from the gross, was mirrored in spiritual terms. To Astonis, the true goal of the alchemist was not simply to change the outside world, but to reawaken and amplify the divine logos within the self and the substance. This divine spark was often thought to be obscured or corrupted by the heaviness of matter or the distraction of the senses. Thus, much of Astonis's esoteric practices likely centered in stripping away illusion and impurity. The role of the magus then was that of a midwife of spirit, guiding the spark towards realization, using rites, symbols, and knowledge passed through initiatory traditions. While Astonis operated at the edge of myth and history, the ideas attributed to him played a key role in shaping later magical and alchemical systems, where the divine logos was the key to unlocking transformation, both in nature and in the soul. This legacy is that of a thinker who saw no separation between divine wisdom and practical technique, and who understood the cosmos as a living, breathing network fused with sacred order. Dream incubation is another spiritual and psychological practice used to induce significant or revelatory dreams, often for healing, prophecy, or divine guidance. Rooted in the belief that dreams are a channel or rooted in the belief that dreams are a channel through which divine forces, spirits, or inner truths communicate with the conscious mind. Dream incubation was a structured ritual involving both preparation and intention. Its origins trace back to early civilizations such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and parts of the Near East, where temples and sanctuaries were established specifically for this purpose. In the classical world, one of the most well-documented forms of dream incubation took place in the temples of Asclepius, the Greco-Roman god of healing. Worshippers seeking cures would participate in a process known as enkoimesis. Enkoimesis. That's Enkoimesis. A ritual sleep in a sacred space, typically after a period of fasting, prayer, purification, and offerings. Before entering the abaton, or the designated sleeping chamber, participants would often bathe, dress in clean garments, and sometimes abstain from sexual activity or specific foods to purify the body and mind. During the incubation, they would sleep on animal skins or within proximity to the god's statue, hoping for a dream in which the god or his agents would appear and provide a cure or destruction. These dreams were not interpreted as mere symbolic expressions, but as direct encounters with divine or supernatural beings. Priest or temple attendants often recorded the dream experience and interpreted them through ritual oracles or codified knowledge. Inscriptions found at sites like Epidaurus and Pergamon document many cases where people claim to have been healed or spiritually transformed after such dreams, lending a testimonial weight to the practice. Beyond healing, dream incubation was used for divination and guidance in the Near East, including among some Mesopotamian and Hebrew traditions. Dreams were believed to carry messages from gods or celestial entities. Incantations, amulets, and specific rituals could be used to invite prophetic dreams. The Egyptian practice included appeals to gods like Toth, or Toth, or Thoth, whichever name you want to call them, or Bez, inscribed onto stelae.